Morning guys, we're back in the shop. LSA part of the build on the PPV is done. We can go fast, but can we stop fast? Hopefully this will help us with that. Came in the mail last night, so let's check it out. All right, it's currently 2 days later. I got one of the calipers out. Check that out. Man, talk about an upgrade. Pads are in decent shape too. Got the mounting bolts. The banjo bolt here, I'm glad that's there because I think I can use the line on the car, but I need this. It's a different thread than what's on the Caprice. They look in decent shape, like not bad. So these are 6-piston ZL1 brakes from the 1LE edition, made by Brembo. And for how big this is, it's not as heavy as you would think. This is the right-sided one. 6 pistons, clamps from both sides. It's got pistons on both sides, whereas like the factory deal only has a piston on one side with a piece of metal on the other. So this will squeeze the rotor from both sides. Better performance. And with the LSA, this will be a nice upgrade for stopping power for sure. And this powder coated red poking through the wheels, man, that's gonna look sharp too. But that's a whole nother story because I've got 18-inch wheels, Camaro wheels on there, and I like the way they look, but I don't know if this giant caliper and rotor is gonna fit in there with those 18s. We'll have to see. Might have to run some spacers if anything, but I'll let you know. I'll have to test fit them. Next is this giant 2-piece rotors. Look at how thick those things are. They're 2 pieces to do the trick. They're a little rusty from sitting around. It's kind of a surface rust. I might run these down to O'Reilly's and have them just resurface them real quick. It's pretty cheap, but it's really just from sitting. It ain't that bad. Oh, yeah, I don't know about them 18s with all this under there. Oh. All right, 2 weeks later. Got some different wheels. We're gonna try it again. These are 20s, they're off a Camaro, just like the other ones. I did like the way the 18s looked on there. Made the car look sharp. It didn't rub, it didn't give me any issues. Ordered some center caps, but I guess they're 2021 Camaro SS wheels. It did rub a little bit on me. I had, let's see, 5 people in the car turning and hitting a bump, but just with me in there driving home, nothing rubbed, but I guess they will. Tire size for you guys looking for tire sizes. Went with a 245 40/20 up front, which is, yeah, stock size. Then in the rear, we went with a 275 35/20. So a couple 14mm bolts. We'll get the caliper loose here. See the pads stay behind. We'll make sure not to kink the line. Caliper just sitting over there out of the way. And look, a lot of life left on these pads. A little bit of a shame, but we're doing an upgrade, so they just slide off right there. We'll keep moving. All right, 2 18mm bolts hold the caliper bracket on, so we'll get those loose. All right, with the caliper out of the way, we'll slide the brake rotor off now. Giant 2-piece ones loaded up here. Should put a couple lug nuts on here just to hold it steady. got these two caliper bolts threaded into the caliper through the bracket. We've got the brake pad collapsed into this side anyways. See if we can slide it on and line up the bolts. That's kind of why I left it a little bit loose, so I could help me guide these into the right spot. Threaded. Now for the moment of truth. Let's see if the wheels will fit. All right, moment of truth. Do you think they'll fit, or do we need a spacer? I don't know. I hope they fit, but no. I don't know. It looks like we might be okay. Why can't I spin it though? That's not good. Uh-oh. I think we need spacer. She is locked up. So there is a little gap there, but down here, touching the caliper, like, yeah, right there. So I can confirm that these wheels with the 6 pistons are gonna need a spacer. At least a little one anyways. Quick run down to the parts store, found these mag washers. We'll test fit them with this and see how it does, and then we can order some wheel spacers if we need the right thickness. I think that's the better way to go. That way, no trouble with anything coming loose or shifting. It'll be a flat surface to torque your wheel down to. So let's see what happens with one set of these wheel or mag washers. Well, with one set, still touches. I'll pull it off, I'll put one more and see. We might have to get some different wheel studs for this. Oh, even with 2 spacers, it wouldn't turn. It's not this, because it's not touching the caliper. It's not touching through here. I think the rotor is hitting the dust shield. So I need to pop the wheel off and take a look back there, because it is stuck when you tighten the lug nuts down. So here's where we're at. Even with the one spacer, it doesn't touch here, but it won't spin. But if you look over here, I get the light in the right spot here, you can see the calipers touching the rotor right there. You can see where it was dragging on it too. So the disc is not centered within the caliper, the rotor. So I don't know if I can shim this out to bring it more in the center of the caliper. Yeah. Maybe we can take these out and transfer them over. I don't know. Looks like they can just be pressed out of there with like a screwdriver or something maybe. Let's give it a go here. Yeah, they look like, oh yeah, it comes out easy. Look at that. Well, sort of. So, all right, there we go. So I guess we'll transfer over all these bits and put them on this one. Well, we've got all those little retainer pieces, but we need to take off these little clips and slide onto this hat. So I'm gonna work these out one by one. It'd be easier if I had 2 hands. And these will slide in here and hold those pieces a little more snugly. So we'll get those transferred over. got the hardware to drop in. You kind of have to slide these back and forth a little bit until they drop in. It's not gonna all just fall. There's a little wiggle room here. It's like a slotted hole. And it's dropped down, but look at this. The flange is about 1 7/8 from the bottom. And then on the one that I bought, you're well over 2 inches. You're past 2 1/4. So this is definitely gonna move the position of the rotor with these hats. Got to get some Loctite, and we'll get these retaining bolts back in. All right, guys, we're back in the shop for the 3rd time. Got the car in the air. We're gonna try to get these brakes on. All right, we're getting this figured out one thing at a time. Now, got it apart, but these hats won't slide over the lugs. So they must use a smaller, thinner lug nut on this year Corvette. So I might just have to enlarge these holes a little bit or possibly get new studs, but all right, so we've got the rotor on. Had to punch those holes out a little bit in the drill press, but now it slides on. So we'll keep going. All right, so got it all on there. Rotates just fine. So the new hats put it kind of in the right spot. It's a little close on the back side still. Let me see if I can get a good shot of it. But we'll see. I'm gonna hook it all up and just test it, and then if we have to, we can shim it. So it's now that I've tightened it down, it's hitting some. Oh, it's hitting right there. Messing up the caliper. Okay. So we need a shim there. All right, guys, we're back in the shop. Fast forward a couple weeks. The car's in the air again. We got some stuff in the mail and some adapters and longer wheel studs. So hopefully we can make this work. Let's try it again. So we went and picked up some longer wheel studs. These are Dorman part number. Then we got these aluminum adapters, and these are 15 millimeter. I also ordered 10, but I'm gonna go with these 15. I need to be able to cover the hub that's on the car completely so that this adapter, or so the wheel will sit flush. And these come with a little hub centric ring on them already, so we'll give these a go. It fits through here nicely. What we got, I'll put the part number for this adapter down in the description as well. I found them on eBay. A lot of ways to skin a cat here, but what we do is put a couple spacers here and use a lug nut, and we will pull that in until it's flush. This little nub will be flush up against here and it'll be pressed into there. With the longer wheel studs installed, we are gonna start assembly with the ZL1 brakes, hopefully for the last time. Got the longer wheel studs, bolted the brakes all together like normal. There we go. It's just the caliper's loose, so it's grinding, but it turns smooth when this is pushed all the way back in. we're gonna slide these adapters on. And I wanted an adapter thick enough to completely cover the hub, because if the hub came out through the face of the adapter, it wouldn't be a flush surface for the wheel to bolt to. So hopefully this one will do the trick and get us a little more, flush with the look with the fender of the car. So let's keep our fingers crossed. I hope this works. Look at that. You can see the adapter in there. Solid piece of aluminum. It's got longer wheel studs. Plenty of thread sticking out here to grab, so I gotta tighten them down and put the rest of them. I just wanted to see if it would, how it's doing. I don't hear anything. We still have to hook up the caliper and remove the old one, which is just hanging over the back, and bleed it, but man, I think we got it. So the banjo bolt that goes in the back of the calipers is different on these two. This one is like a fine thread, so you can't use that bolt over there. You have to swap them out. I'm just gonna swap the whole line. I got the line that came with my calipers, so I just got a line wrench, and we're gonna swap the lines out. Well, we got the new line tightened on. You need to bleed the brakes, and you're supposed to start from the inside out. We'll get that done. I'm out here by myself, and I don't have a pressurized bleeding thing, so gotta wait till I find somebody. All right, guys, that about wraps it up. If you want giant ZL1 brakes on your Caprice or G8, this is what you gotta do. First, you gotta find the brakes, of course, but then you need to change the hats. The ZL1 hats won't work, the rotor won't be in the right position. So what you need is the C6 ZR1 or C6 Corvette. I got the ZR1 hats off of eBay. It was $100 for both. That changes the position of the rotor and puts it in a better alignment inside the caliper. Then after that, you're gonna need some longer wheel studs, which I've got the part number below for, because you need the longer wheel studs because you need some sort of adapter. At least I did. It'll touch the wheel if you don't have the adapter. So there's a few hurdles you gotta get around, but also you need the nut that goes in the back of the caliper is different, so you need the one from these brakes. It's a different thread. I just went ahead and used the whole line, but I took one trip to the store with it. It seemed to do just fine. No shaking, no shimmies, no like sounds or scraping, and was real happy. I need to get some heat in them and really kind of see what it'll do and get them set in, but so far it's doing good. Feel free to comment below if you have any questions about doing this swap on your car. Took me a few tries, and I got to do a shout out to my man Ruben on Facebook. He kind of tipped me off on switching these hats, and he's been kind of guiding me a little bit, but I guess there's only 2 or 3 people that's done this that I know of. So not a lot of people have got these on there yet, but I got a good deal on these on eBay, and I'm super happy. It looks really good coming through the rim, that giant red caliper, and with the LSA completed under the hood, like this will be a nice upgrade for stopping goes. Now I went with a 15mm spacer. Probably could have gone away with a 10, would have been I think just about right. But the 10 that I ordered, it didn't fit through the center bore of the hat, this piece, this little lip. So I had the 15s here, and it went through the hat, so we went ahead and used the 15. It does get the tire out a little bit, like it's not obnoxious, but it would be better if it was 5mm more in, just to give it a more flush look, but it's really not that bad at all. I'm just being picky at that point, but I'm happy with how it turned out. We'll get some miles under and see how they do. All right, here's how it sits with the 15 millimeters. It's hard to get a good angle on it, but it sticks out a little bit. It's not crazy, but a little more at the bottom you can see. Okay guys, we got them on there. It took 4 separate tries of bringing the car in the garage. It was quite of a process learning to do this. I think I'm one of like 3 or 4 guys that's ever done this that I know of, but we got it. So if this video brought you any value at all, hit subscribe and like. I really appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around and stay tuned for the next one.